Hello, everybody. I hope that the shoulder releasing and the lung chi movement is helping you all feel good, process where you're at, feel released. I hope everybody's keeping well. Um, it's been crazy, and I feel like, for me at least, the emotional impact of this social distancing has really started to take a toll. But I think maybe that's just a curve that we're all on, that we're going to kind of feel it pretty hard, and then we're going to settle in more, and I can slowly feel that happening. And I'm hopeful that the settling is really where we're heading. Finding new ways to be, to express, to work with each other. And I'm amazed at all of the connecting people are doing in this time. I think it's very beautiful. So to complement our chest and shoulder work that we did, my next series is some neck releasing. As I talked to a lot of you about in your sessions, neck and shoulder are not really two different things to work with. So when you're talking about the shoulder, I'll try to show you. It's hard to be a massage therapist and watch yourself in these videos because it always looks like your head is tilting like the opposite way. So I keep doing these funny movements because I'm always wanting to correct that stuff. So if you see me leaning and then correcting, it's me saying, oh wow, all those little postural things. It's fascinating. So you can see as I move my neck, all of these different tissues, and they're all around. I'm just showing you these because it's a really easy place. Everything between the chest and the shoulders and the neck, it's all one unit really in that compartment. And of course there are other muscles just up here in your neck, other muscles, rotator cuff, things that are really just your shoulders, but for the most part, so much of this is one system. Our whole bodies are of course one system, but neck and shoulders, I cannot emphasize enough that you can't have release in one area and tension in the other. They're gonna come together. So I'm overdue for this neck video. I've just been reading so many baby books. So we're gonna start, get my notes out and get ready for you guys with some gentle stretching and range of motion as we did last time. I always love to start with just seeing where you're at. So for neck range of motion, I'm going to turn to the side. We're going to do a circle, but it's not a huge circle. Again, with the shoulders, range of motion is where you are, and then from there, just at that edge of what's comfortable, if you can move in that space, how can you slowly open up to a new realm without straining anything? So I'm just going to take my neck forward. And right here for me is where I feel that I don't need to drop it. I don't need to collapse it. And when I take this whole thing, we're going to rewind. Talking about your neck, we're talking about the top of your spine, which is about up here. You see where I'm at? Like kind of the bottom of that hair clip. So when I'm talking about your neck, it doesn't end here. It goes up here. And so when I move my range of motion, I'm thinking about that place around here. So when I tip forward, I'm really feeling my nose be the guide, not my chin. So my nose is taking me forward, and then I feel a heaviness in this under the hair clip space here, and that's what takes me to the side. And then when I go to the back, I don't want to compress my neck. I want to feel this lengthen up and back. So again, it's kind of like there's a little bit of a lift. And then I let the heaviness take me over to the next side. And then the nose get heavy and take me forward. So it's really like when you play one of those games as a little kid and you're trying to get the ball through the maze and you're tipping it. I want you to feel the weight of that ball in the maze. And as you move around the circle, it's really that you're letting the ball guide to the nose, guide to almost ear level, guide to the back of the skull, guide to the other ear. And then you can come up, give yourself a second, go the other way. And I'll do it from the front now. So you're going to tip the nose. The ball is sliding over to the ear. The ball is sliding to the back of the head, sliding back to the ear, sliding back to the nose. And a few of those circles. And at no point are things crunching and popping, but I am feeling and hearing the fascia adjust and uncrinkle a little bit as we go. So now we're going to go to the next stretch. I keep looking at my notes, but I know exactly what we're doing. Okay, I fixed that little technical glitch I was having. So here we are back again. So the next stretch is also very simple, and we're also going to go back to that feeling of the weighted ball inside our head, our little kids' maze game. So we're going to stretch the traps and some of these side neck muscles. And so you're just going to do what you're used to doing, tipping your head to the side, keep your shoulders even and relaxed. It might not go very far. For me today, after cuddling my 13-month-old all night, it's not going too far. So I'm just going to go here, but then what I'm going to do is from back here where that ball is at the top of my spine, I'm feeling the weight tip into my nose a little bit, and it's just going to drop me down a little bit. And that angle is going to really give you a true stretch for a lot of these muscles. And it's also going to feel a lot more gentle on your vertebrae. And if you want, you can just, I'm not even really putting pressure, I'm just brushing down the end of these muscles just to remind them you can release. This is just a stretch. And then to come back up when you're ready, you can roll your head down, lift up, let your body go with it a little bit. That feels really nice. And then we'll go the other side, we come over, and then the weight of the nose tips. So I'm not going all the way down. I'm going like 45-degree angle, you know, if this is my trajectory here. And you can play a little bit with shifting forward and back. And when I'm shifting, I'm just moving my whole rib cage a little forward, my whole rib cage a little back. Feels really nice. And then I'm going to roll forward a little and come up. And now we're going to get into a little bit of self-massage, which is something we all need. We're going to start really simple. You're just going to palm squeeze on your neck. So a palm squeeze. Now, I'm going to show you from the side so you can see where I want to work. You don't want to really dig in too far forward. It can just feel uncomfortable, and you really need to have a good sense of the deep anatomy of that area to work on it appropriately, and I don't want any of you triggering any nerve pain or anything like that. So you're really working on the back, and what I feel, I kind of wrap my hand around. So this part is equal on this side to where my fingertips are going on this side. And if you have a bigger hand than neck, you leave a little space. You leave a little bit of a cup there. And when I turn my neck, I feel my fingers kind of sliding into a nice, comfortable divot that even with that turn feels like, oh, that's a great place. And I'm not going forward. I'm behind the ear line. So you're just going to do a couple of squeezes up and down to the nape of the neck, a couple on the other side. And I'm trying not to yank up my shoulder. I'm trying to move my arm up really gently and easily. That's how we're going to start. And you can do that a few times over. And just squeezing and pulling. You can really pull at the skin on the neck. It feels nice because it really stretches open the fascia even further forward than where you're grabbing. And now we're going to go to one of my favorite points. So if you feel down your skull here, you go right to the middle. You've got kind of a dip in the bone for most of us. You're going to trace, and there's another descent here, another dip. In between those, there's like a high point usually. And if you press right up under the skull in that high point, you will know, you will feel the, yes, That's the point. This is an acupuncture point, gallbladder 20. It's on both sides. Yeah, that's it. And you're just going to give yourself a little pull up. And then some circles. Gallbladder channel is also an amazing channel for releasing frustration. And I know that most of us have had that word or feeling pass through our minds in the past little while. You can do your circles and your pull-ups and just let it go. Shake it out a little bit. And we're going to do one other point in our massage. This is your mastoid process. So now we're going to travel to the far edge of the skull when you're looking from the back. So you kind of come to the last dip down. And it's usually tender and not always in a pleasant way. I'm going to use this hand just so you can see my neck turn. So when I'm on this point, let's see how I can make this work for you. This looks best. You'll see this muscle pop out. Sternocleidomastoid, for those of you who really want to know, or your SCM. And you can trace it up. Feel that bulge. Trace it up and you're finding your mastoid process. And this is going to be great for everyone with a little jaw tension. Yeah, so here you can really see where I'm at. Behind the ear, dipping down. It's another low point. And again, just feel around. Don't dig anywhere that feels like nervy or fiery, but just really right under this bone where the muscles attach. It's going to help also relieve jaw tension, which we will talk about in another session. And this will come up then too, but it really feels wonderful. And also, there's points right above this on the bone of the skull that can help with sleep and insomnia. So if you're feeling that, just go ahead and rub into the lower skull here. Just like give it all some love right behind the ear. Why not? And you can do that on both sides as well. And then it's bounce ball time. My favorite, always. So this time, similar to last time, I'm going to take my multicolored shirt off so you can really see. My massage clothes are locked in the room with the sleeping kid. That's what I forgot this time. So I'm going to show you, here's the tip of my scapula. I can't see the video, but I'm hoping you can see it. I'm just going to move around a little bit so you get a sense for where I am. It's where this medial border, top border meet. And there's a muscle that connects your scapula to your neck and does all of the stabilizing of your scapula in all of these movements as we go about our day. We're going to get right on those 2 points. So we're going to lay down. You can see. Slide our ball. Find it. Ah, yes. Right under that. This is for your levator scapulae. It's a little awkward to set up sometimes. You kind of got to shimmy around, move around. But you're just going to let those balls sit there right on those little points at the top inside corner of your scapular triangle. And you're just going to breathe. And it's going to feel great. Or a little uncomfortable at first. But that also counts as great. When you've had enough of that, you can roll off to one side and sit up. And now I am going to check my notes because I have one other thing I definitely wanted to do. And I want to make sure that I'm not skipping over any other delicious thoughts I had. Because of course, as I do this, I think of 1,000 things we could all do together. All right, so yes, this is kind of a little bonus insertion. And this is rolling out your subscapularis. This is a muscle of your rotator cuff that you would not really think of when you're thinking of your neck if you looked at a picture, an anatomical drawing, but it goes from underneath and inside the scapula here. and it's wrapping around and attaching to your humerus. And all of these motions, it's engaging, but also getting kind of stretched as you pull out of that engagement. It stabilizes a lot against the curve forward that we can get into. And so as you're doing this, it's saying, come back to me, come back to me. So a lot of times when our levator scapulae get tense because we've had this neck tension, we go into this posture. And then the subscapularis is fighting against it. So what we need to do is also say, that's okay, we can come back to you. So we're going to take our foam roller. This is going to remind you, if you're a yoga person, of like a reclining Buddha. I'm going to be starting, because it travels all across the armpit, I'm going to be not right in the middle, but just a little bit toward the back. And I'm going to start from more toward my humerus, more toward the arm end of things. I'm going to lay down, cut my hands, and I'm just going to rock back and forth. You guys are getting notifications from my mom. It's a very exciting day here. And then we're going to move forward again. Just like an inch or so, find a new point, I'm going to do a little rock. I rock forward pretty much toward exactly perpendicular and backward, maybe like another 45 degree. And then I keep going and do this whole thing, and I'm going to eventually end up around midway through my scapula towards the bottom edge. Wherever feels good. You don't want to feel so much compression on your rib that it makes you feel uncomfortable or that your breathing is restricted. So if you reach a point where that's where you are, you're too far. But if you can still feel the border of your scapula, you're just in the right place. All right, and then we're going to come out of that, do the other side, and then we're going to do one last exercise. Okay, last thing for this series. Sorry, this one's a little long. I had to get myself all situated and get my props set so you didn't have to deal with that. But this is the most mild neck traction exercise that I think will really be great for all of us at this time. So you want a hand towel. Now, of course, in my clean laundry, I feel like the size you ideally want is between this size. But this size is okay for a lot of us. And like a tiny step above it is ideal, not a bath towel. So between this and a bath towel, if you have like an in-between, it's great. Otherwise, clean hand towel, or as you can see here, I have partially rolled a bath towel. The thickness I have here, which is probably not even half of the bath towel rolled up, is more than ideal for me. I might take it down just a half notch there. Basically, you want to not feel like you're creating traction. You just want to feel like something is supporting the natural curve of your neck. And you're going to lie on it for a long, long time. And that lying there with the natural curve of your neck just supported is what's going to give you the release of the traction. So this towel, if I was doing just this, I would just start with a small roll, build and build and build. Here's my neck roll. And this is pretty good. So as you can see, not too thick, doesn't look like anything crazy. I'll show you with this one since it's already out and ready for me. We're going to lay down through our side, as always, to be nice and easy. And now I'm finding a place. My towel is thin enough where it's neither pressing on my skull or pressing on my shoulders. It is just sitting in the curve of my neck and supporting it. Knees are bent. Feet are on the floor. Give you a better position picture of that. So from here, I'm trying to feel my spine neutral, which, wow, just lying here tells me we've got some stuff to talk about when we get to low back and pelvis down the road. And I'm just going to lie in this position. You know, if you're alone, put on a podcast, put on a movie, whatever. I mean, something you don't have to like crane your eyes to look at. Put on some music, do whatever you do, but something you can listen to. And you're just going to sit here for 10 minutes. If you want, after some time, you could tie something around your legs so you don't hold them here, Or after a little while, you could let your knees fall in a little bit, but just make sure you're even. Because really, the knees falling in is like bonus time. I don't want it to be part of your 10 minutes because that does change the relationship of everything, and it changes the relationship of the pelvis and the lower end of the spine to the top. So we're just going to be here. And I feel like for me, I'm sitting here thinking, okay, I can feel my rib cage just popping out a little. So I'm not going to force anything, but I'm going to take some deep breaths, see if I can get it all to sink, see if I can release my arms a little more, and then maybe I can come back to center. And if you feel other things talking to you during this, it's okay to just notice them and let them be. You don't have to fix everything right now. This is time for your neck, and everything else is information. All right, so you'll set your timer for your 10 minutes. I won't make you sit here for 10 minutes with me. And then you'll roll to the side and come up, and that will be your next series. And you can take any piece of that. It doesn't have to be all at once. I know I gave you a lot, but I hope it's helpful. I hope you enjoy it, and I hope you all continue to feel good and cared for.